Oh my god, my head. This is how I'm shooting the whole video. What's up? No, I need to get real. I need to get real. What is up, Booty Tribe? It's your girl Naja, and I'm looking crazy as hell. Yes, I took my wig off. I was tired of wearing this fucking wig. I'm trying to bulk record because I'm kind of behind. And yeah, this is what I'm doing. And I know I look like a little cashew head, but hi. Okay, so this is a story time. I'm flooding with story times right now. But I wanted to tell a story time that I asked you guys if you would want to hear the story a while ago, and I just never picked back up on it, so that's what I'm going to do. This is going to be the story time about how my job was stealing money from me, okay? And I didn't realize until like a whole year that they were stealing money from me. I want to say like a good 6 months to a year that they were stealing money from your girl, okay? They were stealing money from an innocent child that did not understand. Well, I wasn't a child, but like, but you know what I'm saying? They were stealing from me and I didn't know. So it's still not good. So if you are not subscribed to this channel, I promise you, I don't always look like this. Go look at some of my older story times, my other videos. Ew, I just laughed and like some boogers came out. If you are not subscribed, you should totally subscribe to this channel. Give this video a thumbs up. Hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time I post. And without further ado, I'm just gonna get right on into it. So this was back when I worked for the Indian restaurant. I have a few story times about when I worked at the Indian restaurant, and like everything is always just a fucking shit show at this Indian restaurant. My manager was a dick. He was smashing employees there. There was drunks in the kitchen. Like, it was a damn mess. Working there was a mess. I didn't get paid that well, and people were always getting fired and hired, fired and hired. The girl that trained me had me stealing for her and I didn't even know. Everything I just mentioned I have story times about, so just go look at my story time playlist and you should find it, and I'm not about to retell it. I look really glossy, bitch. Yeah, so basically this was like my third job that I ever had. So my first job is when I worked at that frozen yogurt shop. I made a story time about that too, how my manager tried to hit me up when I was 18 to go do like a little nudie shoot. Yeah, but that got banned by YouTube, so I'm not even gonna have like, I don't even want to get on that. But that was my first ever job, and he did make me and it wasn't banned on YouTube, it was just demonetized. It was deemed not friendly, okay? Because that was before I knew how to do my little process of not getting demonetized, and that really made me upset because I put a lot of work into that video, but it's not about that, okay? My first job was at the frozen yogurt spot, and my manager was very, very cool in the fact that he knew that I was a first timer, like, and he helped me out a lot. He helped me out with my W2, W4, whatever, and like, he would show me my checks, and he showed me like how I punch in and punch out and like how to calculate my stuff. Like, he showed me what was up, right? So when I got my checks, I was only making $7 an hour my first job, and then I got my taxes taken out. Like, I thought I was balling with my little $200 checks, boo. You couldn't tell me nothing. Like, girl, I sworn I had a job after that, but I just can't think of it for the server when I was at that damn club. That was awkward, but I wasn't even there long enough to get a fucking W2, W4 filled out. They literally just paid me in cash because I was only there for like a few days, and I got to keep all my tips. So still no real experience with like taxes and stuff like that, like for real, right? Because the first guy that I had experienced that with, my first boss, he was very honest and I trusted him, and he did that for me. Like, there was never any question, right? So I didn't ever feel the need to think that I might have to do that with somebody else in the future, right? And so then, boom, second job, the whole club thing, whatever. Oh no, I'm getting it mixed up, I'm sorry. Before I went to work at that club where they paid me in cash, I worked at a boutique. So I worked at a boutique. They paid me under the table, so I didn't get taxes taken out either. They paid me cash. The club paid me cash. And then I worked for like this cleaning service. I have a story time about that, how I clean like the fucking dirtiest, nastiest fucking house ever, okay, ever. And I think I have one more story time about my cleaning escapades, because I had some fucking weird ass shit happen to me on that cleaning job, and my grandma always told me to be careful on the cleaning jobs because she said she used to do that in college, and like owners of the house will try to like hit on her and stuff, and that shit used to make me nervous. But I did have some weird stories with the cleaning job, so there was that, and they paid me under the table as well, but I only worked for them for maybe like 2 months. But I was working for them while I was working for the Indian restaurant. So the Indian restaurant did make me fill out a W-2, W-4 form, whatever, right? So they did make me fill that out, but in my opinion, I feel like they made me fill that out for me. Like for me to think that everything was legit. Because now that I think about it, looking back, everybody in that restaurant that worked there were not US citizens. They weren't on no, okay, except for one girl was on a student visa, but she wasn't a US citizen. Like, it was hard for her to get a job. Like, everybody there, they could not get a normal job because they did not have citizenship. And me and like one other girl, we were the only legal US citizens there. So in my opinion, I feel like we were all getting paid whatever the fuck they wanted to pay us, but just gave us those W-2, W-4s to make us feel like, you know, something's normal. It was me, the girl with the student visa, and she was Vietnamese, and then we're gonna call, I called her something else last time, but we're gonna call her Becky. And Becky was a white girl. I was 18 at the time, and Becky was 21 at the time, and Becky was actually a manager at McDonald's, and then she would come into the restaurant and work. We would get 2 paychecks, okay? Well, 4 paychecks a month. So one is gonna be your hourly check, and then the second is going to be all of your tips combined, and it's a check, and like supposedly taxes are being taken out of your tip check. But what I wasn't processing is that these niggas was writing handwritten checks, okay? They were literally having money from the bank on a check from their bank and handing it to us to go in cash, okay? Back then, I thought that was normal, okay? I'm an adult now, okay, bitch? If I fill out a W-2, W-4, I expect a pay stub, okay? I did not see no type of pay stub, but because I was so trusting in the first manager I ever had that did all that shit for me, showed me how to fill the form out, and then gave me a pay stub. I didn't really know what a pay stub was still. I just thought that checks looked different because I was so fucking sheltered. And that's the reason why they need to teach fucking taxes and all that shit in high school instead of all that bullshit. Like, I took financial algebra in high school, but I mean, I still feel like that doesn't teach you how to do your taxes and stuff. Like, I feel like it's algebra, but then in the word problems, they just put weird banker people in the word problems. Like, the teller had $4 bills. Like, no, that's not real life. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like if people were to teach this shit in school, people would know what's going on and what's not right. I've been working there for maybe like 5 months, 6 months, right? So then I noticed that my checks were short, cause like I would be like, how the fuck am I making this much money when I stayed late that night? I stayed late that other night. I had to clean up until like 10:30 when we clock out. Supposed to clock out at 10 last week. Like, why are my checks so short? And then why are my tip checks so short? Like, there would be nights where, because no offense, I'm not trying to offend anybody, this is just a fact of the environment I was in. Traditionally, Indian people travel with their whole fucking families, okay, bruh? Especially out to eat. I would get tables with 16 motherfuckers sitting at it. Gratuity plus a tip. Why the fuck does my check look like this? Why the fuck does my check look like this? Like, it doesn't make any sense. I should be making the most fucking money because not only do I work the night shift, but I work on Fridays and Saturdays. That's when it's bumping. So things just weren't adding up. So I asked Becky, I was like, Becky, like, have you been counting up your hours? Like, do your checks look a little off?
My checks do look off, and then it's not like I have a pay stub that I can look at.
And I was like, what do you mean a pay stub? Like, we get checks. And she told me, she was like,
there's a difference between a check and a pay stub. Like, at McDonald's, I hand out pay stubs. So you could see your hourly work that you've done, and then you could tear the check off at the bottom. That's a pay stub.
Oh. So they're just giving us checks from the bank.
I guess they're just giving us checks from the bank.
And I'm just like, Okay. So I kept that in the back of my mind, right? So then the Vietnamese girl, we're gonna call her Amy. The Vietnamese girl, I asked her, I was like, do your checks get cut or whatever? And she was like,
sometimes I feel like my checks aren't adding up, but if I have to pay my rent and it's not enough, I'll just let him know and he'll just pay my rent.
Because I said this in a previous video, my manager, he was so fucking ass backwards that like he would pay the people in the back, but he would literally just pay their cost of living. Like he'd be like, okay,
how much is your rent this month? I'm gonna pay you X amount per month. Here's some extra money in case you need some gas. Like
he was treating them niggas like that shit just wasn't fucking cool. I did not like how he treated the people in back of house, but everything was just really fucking fishy. So I'm just like, so your checks aren't adding up, but they're trying to pay you the difference so that you could keep on living and everything be straight. And then keep you dedicated to the restaurant at the same time, because then it's just like, oh, well, I did this for you. You can't quit. Because working there was so shitty because my manager was such a dick. Manager slash owner dick. Everybody in the back was getting paid off. Meanwhile, there's me and Becky, who are legal US citizens. We can bounce out this bitch whenever we want. But I feel like because Becky was already a manager at McDonald's, she was kind of just using the restaurant as like play money so that she can go shopping or like, you know, do whatever she wanted to do. But me, on the other hand, I'm going to school. Like, I got a lot of shit going on. It's stressful enough already, and I need my money because my mom wasn't helping me with shit. Like, she may have been letting me sleep at her house, but I had to put gas in my car. I had to pay my car insurance. Like, I had stuff I needed to pay for, and this was my only income, and this nigga isn't about to help me out with that, because all of that shit that they were doing with the paying the rent and stuff on the side was a very under the table type of thing that Amy didn't tell me until like 5-6 months in. Like, sorry. It's fucking Daniel being crazy. But yeah, so I remember I was at this point where I had 2 jobs. I was doing the cleaning job and doing the Indian restaurant job. I was making 10 bucks an hour at the cleaning job, and I was making maybe like 8 something. No, I was a server. Server minimum wage is like $6, like $5-6 fucking dollars, bitch. Like, being a server is hard. Like, it depends on where you're at, because I don't know if it's just Florida, but like they expect you to make up the rest of your wage with tips. So like I was making like $5-6 an hour, plus like only $114 worth of tip money because these niggas taxed my tips, right? And then it was such a confusing transition for me, because when I was working at that club, even though it was for a little while, every single dollar I touched was mine. I didn't get no type of tax. That was mine. Like, my manager kept track of the tips that I was making, but it was still mine. I was putting it in my pocket and I was going fucking home. So that shit, it was just so weird to me. But like, I know there are some places that collect tips and then tax it out or whatever, but still, it just didn't feel right. So I had 2 jobs. I felt like I was making enough money, and I was like, you know what, I really want to move out. All of my friends are moved out on their own. You guys know that period where you feel like you're too old to be living with your parents, when in fact you need to stay your ass at home. Like, that's where I was at, and I didn't have no business moving out at that time either anyway. But yeah, I was like, okay, I need to move out or whatever. So I was looking at places that I could afford, and every time I called the place, they were just like, oh, we need some pay stubs. We need pay stubs from the company you're working for, blah, blah, blah. For one, my cleaning job was an under the table type thing, but they still gave me like legit checks, like, if that makes any sense. Like, it wasn't something ripped out of a checkbook and written on it like the fucking restaurant was, right? I had went up to my manager and I was like, hey, I need some of my pay stubs. And he kind of looked at me like what the fuck? Because I have remembered what Becky had said about how usually people have pay stubs, like this isn't normal, like, but I'm just using this shit to go get my nails done and shit, so I don't really care. I'll cash they check. So I asked him, I was like, dude, I need some pay stubs. And he was just like,
why do you need pay stubs?
Because I'm trying to get an apartment. I need pay stubs to get approved.
You're not about to move out. You're not about to get no apartment. Like, what are you talking about?
That's how my manager was. Like, he was a dick. And I'm just like, how are you gonna tell me what I have another job. I have a second job. Like, I could afford it. Like, can I have my pay stubs, please?
Well, what about all the checks we wrote you?
Because at this point, I was fed up. I knew what the fuck was going on. I knew that I was most likely making more of an amount because I forgot to tell y'all this. I started calculating my hours and adding it up. Even like after taking like a 25% out of it, I was still making like significantly less money than what I was supposed to be making because I did work on the weekends, but I also worked on certain weekdays where I didn't have class or if I didn't have a morning class the next day. So I knew I was being shitted, but I wanted to see my pay stubs so I could see if I'm tripping and maybe they took out more of a tax. But I know even now, I only get like $120 taken out of my shit each paycheck. And these niggas was taking like $250. Like, nigga, I wasn't getting no health care out that bitch. Like, so I knew something was fishy. I knew something was fishy. I told him, I was like, I need my pay stubs. I need my pay stubs. He kept brushing me off. So I came in there early. I caught his wife off guard. I'm like, I need pay stubs. I need pay stubs. And she was like,
why do you need pay stubs? Like, I don't understand. Why do you need pay stubs?
Like, it was such a big fucking deal for them to give me my pay stubs so I could see my money. Like, I don't understand. Like, I signed a W-2 and W-4, whatever the fuck I signed. Like, why don't I have pay stubs? It doesn't make any sense. I told my mom about it and she was like,
why didn't you tell me they were paying you with written checks? That's not right.
And I'm like, I don't fucking know what I'm doing out here. Like, I'm only 18 years old. I'm fresh to the world. I don't know what's going on. Like, I thought everything was peachy keen. I don't fucking know.
That's not right. You need to get your pay stubs. I still don't feel like it's time for you to move out, but you should definitely get this under control.
I went back one day, and after I had asked for the pay stubs, my manager and his wife completely like changed how they were treating me. Like, they would ignore me, they would act really stuck up, they would talk about me to the people in the back. Like, they would just talk shit to me about me when I wasn't there, right? And I remember I like popped off on them, but we're gonna get to that point. So one day I came in and his wife came in to the night shift, and I was like, oh, this is weird. You know, she's comes in for the buffet for lunch, but she came into the night shift. She had an envelope and she just like slapped it on like the fucking cash register like that, and she was like,
here are your pay stubs.
So I'm like, oh, dope. Like, maybe I was wrong, you know? I open it. Why is there only one pay stub from my last check I just fucking got? And I'm not talking about, not the last check I got, but like, okay, like the last check, the check before the last. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I had just got paid, check before the last. So you see how shit ain't adding up? So I asked her, I was like, well, where are the rest of my stubs? Like, I can't give them one pay stub. Like, I get paid 4 times out the month, so I need quite a bit of pay stubs. And then this is just a pay stub for my hourly. Like, where is my tips pay stub? This bitch had the nerve to be like,
I don't know why all of a sudden you need pay stubs. Like, why is this such a big deal now? Like, I don't understand.
Because I'm trying to move out. Like, that's one thing, bruh. I don't give a fuck. Like, and that was one thing that they didn't like about me, was that I am very outspoken. Like, I'm a US citizen. I don't need this job. I could go work at McDonald's with Becky, okay? So I was just like, you don't understand. Like, I don't see what's so hard for you to understand that when you get an apartment, you need your social security card, your ID, your fucking pay stubs. Like, I don't see what the fucking issue is.
You know what? I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing.
And she just walked out. I'm like, all right, bitch, the fuck? Like, I'm gonna need my other pay stubs when you come back, right? So when me and his wife had that conversation, he didn't like me even more. So as the days are going on, like, Amy had came up to me and was like,
hey, like, Carl's been talking shit about you, and like, I don't be laughing or whatever, but he be laughing with them in the back about you, because I remember when he was mad at me, you stood up for me, so I just want to let you know.
And I'm like, all right, bitch, cool. Like, bet, I'm gonna confront his ass. And this is the night that I quit. This is the night that I quit because I showed my fucking ass, bitch. Like, I showed my ass. It was the beginning of the shift, and Carl popped in, and I was like, is there anything you need to say to me?
No, why?
And I was like, because I heard you've been talking about me. Like, if you got a problem, let me know, because I don't like working in those type of conditions. Like, do you have a problem with me?
Man, you need to stop with all that ghetto shit. And
don't try to paint me as a fucking angry black woman. Like, don't even do that, sir. Don't even try to do that. Like, no, like, so I told him, I was like, don't even try to paint it like that, like at all. Like, you're upset with me because I called y'all on your bluff because y'all been taking money out my pocket, which is why you guys cannot provide a pay stub, because I doubt you even submitted those W-2s or those W-4s, and you're just paying us out of pocket like everybody else.
Oh, you're just so smart. You think you know everything that's going on. Like, do you want to work here or not? Do you want to work here or not?
To be honest, no, I don't want to fucking work here because I want all of my fucking coins, okay? And if I wanted to, I could report this whole motherfucking bitch. If I didn't feel compassionate towards the people who work here, I'll report your whole fucking establishment.
Oh, so you're just gonna put people on the street like that? This is why I don't like Americans working here. Blah, blah, blah.
And I'm like, all right, bet. And then I got my shit and I left. And he hit me up one time, I think like a month, maybe like 2 months later, and he was just like,
Naja, I really need you to come in. Nobody else knows the menu, and Becky called out.
Or whatever, right? So I did go back and I worked for him because I told him he needs to pay me in cash, right? Naja, you dumb bitch. Like, y'all, I'm so fucking dumb. So I did that, right? And I went in for a night, I did my usual do or whatever, served up, got my tips, and I told him before I got in there, any money I make that's cash, that's mine, okay? Your payday is every Wednesday, right? I'm coming in on Wednesday, so boom. Took my tips in hand and walked out the door, right? Wednesday comes along because I only worked on Fridays and Saturdays, so I think it was either a Friday or a Saturday. Waited 3 days, came in on Wednesday to collect my check, right? There was some new girl there. I don't know who the fuck she was, but she was just like,
hey, how can I help you?
I'm just like, hey, I'm here to collect my check.
Oh, okay.
She went up to the back because I know my manager was in the back with his little fucking scary ass. He was in the back because he knows that I will pop off, bro. Like, I stood, because back then I did not have control over my anger. Like, now I'm a very laid back person. Like, it takes a lot to have somebody get under my skin, but back then I was an angry little tot. Like, I was angry at the world, bitch, and like I was just letting everybody have it. I don't know how I survived in customer service, but like, she went to the back, came to the front, and she was like,
Carl said your check isn't ready.
And I was like, okay, do checks still come out on Wednesdays here?
Yeah, I got mine.
And I'm like, okay, when will my check be ready? And she went to the back, and Carl told her whatever, and she came back out. She was like,
he said your check's gonna be ready on Saturday.
And I was like, okay, I'll be back on Saturday. So sure enough, I come back on Saturday, right? And it's another new girl. So I'm guessing that Amy and Becky quit, because now it's just a whole bunch of little white girls, which is his type. If you've seen the story time I made about him smashing my coworker, apparently that's his type, is these little white girls. So he got a whole bunch of little white girls working there now. And one of them came up to the register and like,
hi, how can I help you?
And I was like, I'm here to pick up my check.
All checks go out on Wednesday.
And I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought too, but he told me my check would be here on Saturday, so I'm here on Saturday to collect my check.
Okay, I'll go back there and get him.
So this time he's gonna come out the kitchen, you know.
Like, hi Naja, how are you doing?
And I didn't say anything, cause nigga, I don't like you. Like, you playing games, bruh. I know my check has been sitting there since fucking Wednesday. So he pulls out the check and he gives it to me. It's an envelope with my name on it. I give no fucks, bitch. I open the fucking envelope and I open it, take out my little check, look at it. For one night, bitch, guess how much money I made? Pause this video right here and guess how much money I made in one night, okay? In 6 hours, okay? Guess how much money I made. Pause this video and guess, right, real quick, okay? I'm hoping my smart people did 5 times 6, okay? And that's basic math, right? That's basic fucking math, right? 5 times 6, okay? What is that, guys? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, $30, okay? I wanted my little $30, bitch. That's some gas in my tank. And I had like 40 bucks in tips from that night. Give me my little gas money. You know how much money this nigga give me? This nigga gave me $15 on a fucking check. This nigga gave me $15 fucking on a check. And for one, I asked for cash. So when I saw the check, I was already pressed. I look at that shit, it said $15. I started busting out laughing. And he started smirking too. He's like,
What's wrong? What's up?
and I ripped the check up in his face and went like that. Fuck you, bruh. Don't fucking hit me up. Fuck you.
Oh, Naja, really? This is what you do? This is what I be talking about. How you being aggressive and you acting ghetto up in here and blah, blah, blah.
The girls were looking too. The little white girls were looking. And I looked back and I was like, y'all better count y'all fucking hours. Y'all better count it good. Cause this is why I'm walking out. I was the best fucking worker up in, and I'm yelling while I'm walking out being real ratchet. I was the best fucking worker up in this bitch, and he cutting my checks. Y'all better watch y'all fucking hours, bruh. Notice how y'all don't get no pay stubs up in this bitch. Like, I was cutting up, bitch. I was cutting the fuck up, bitch. And yeah, then I left, and that was that. And I don't play about my money till this day. I really don't. I don't play about my money till this day. I really don't. But now I got a big girl job, so like I could see my taxes being taken out, my pay stubs and stuff like that. Like, it's no biggie. But when you working for shady ass niggas like that, you really gotta be on your shit. Yeah, guys, that is the time where my job was stealing money from me. If you like this story, give it a thumbs up. It helps me out a lot, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
The truth will set you free, but first it'll piss you off.